PreWorkout. It's the supplement that absolutely none of us need, but almost every single one of us takes at one point or another. I've been taking PreWorkout for the last 20 years, which is crazy because I'm younger than I look. At least I like to think I am. But I've taken everything from the original Jack 3D formula, which ended up having banned substances. At the time, I didn't know it was banned. In fact, it wasn't banned, but you definitely felt like something was wrong. One time I thought I was dying, to be honest. But I've taken everything, and I'm not just someone that finds one thing and I'm like, hey, this is great. I was fanatical about finding the best pre-workout, ordering something new almost every single time, and even out for a long stretch there, making my own pre-workout because there was no pre-workout that met my standards. And the problem with that was I couldn't get it to taste good. So I finally have a pre-workout that I think is the best in the world. Like, I could recommend this to anyone, and it's going to do well. There was a few things with the formula that weren't up to standards, but we're gonna talk about the changes that they made. The pre-workout that we were talking about is Gorilla Mode. Derek, you've done it. All right, so let's back up just a little bit because I do have a couple of videos, more than a couple of videos on here talking about my favorite pre-workout, which used to be this guy. I've tried everything from the high stim to the non-stim, not just this brand, but a lot of brands. And honestly, the reason I loved this pre-workout so much was the flavor. It was pretty decent, but I don't use it anymore. The other pre-workouts that I've tried were just decent. Again, it's flavor. Like, at one point, I just gave up on finding that holy grail of a pre-workout, and I judged it on, does it have enough caffeine? Does it have a couple of, cognitive stimulants in it? And then, does it taste good? And that's really what I judged it on. If it had alpha GPC, had a decent amount of caffeine, I could supplement some of the other things, but it had to taste good. And that was really where I came down to. But I found something that really shocked me and really changed the game for me, and that was Gorilla Mode. Now, these are the pre-workout, these are the caffeine-free ones. They're nitric, which we're going to talk about how I use this. I still like these a lot. We'll talk about why. But this one right here, so this is the original Gorilla Mode. Now, there were two things that were really wrong with this, and this is the pre-workout I've been using for the past probably 6 months or so. Two things. One, it didn't have any alpha GPC. It had huperzine A, had a couple of things in here. Actually had like glycer pump, which I didn't ever think was all that important, but the pumps on this are insane, so maybe it is. But the thing here was it was missing the alpha GPC, and so I would still use it, but I could tell, and I would actually mix in some of like the Bucked Up or some of the other pre-workouts that had some of that because I missed that ingredient. Thing number two that was wrong with this is the taste, and the taste was good, but it wasn't great, and so I would miss my fruity the pre-workouts that didn't work quite as well because of the flavor. And so I would still use those. I would still mix those in because the flavor on this, they were good. And I think the best flavor I had was probably the watermelon. It was probably a 7 out of 10. I had the original grape cotton candy, and I love grape. It was terrible. It was like a 4.5 out of 10. It was awful, and I really, really wanted to like it. But recently, they've upgraded the formula, and so there are a few changes. This is the new flavor, and as you can see here, I have multiple of these. I have 2 of the new formula, which claim to have S-tier flavor profiles, which we're going to discuss. And then I have a few of the nitrics, which are non-caffeine versions. And so the thing that I've done is I use this pre-workout. So before I even start working out, I'm in the sauna. We'll talk about sauna in another video probably, but I use 2 scoops of this, which 1 scoop of this is like a double scoop of almost any other pre-workout that I've had as far as the amount of ingredients. In 2 scoops, it says that there's 33 grams of active stuff in it, and let's just pull one of these scoops out. These are huge. I gave one to half a scoop, half serving to my neighbor. Look at that. And he was like, this is ginormous. Let me pull out one of the other ones to compare. So I gave him half a serving, and he was like, dude, that's half a serving? That's insane. Look at the difference here. It's not even close, not even competition. So that aside, bigger's not always better. Most of the time it is, not always. So the question is, does it actually work better? And the answer to that is 100% yes. Absolutely love how this works. They did add the huperzine or the alpha GPC. Cognitive effects on that are amazing. I love all the other things in there. Honestly, if I were to create my own pre-workout, and I'm looking at this list here, we have creatine in there, which I usually mix in myself. I've never had a pre-workout before this that had it. The citrulline, we have 5 grams for 1 scoop, not 2. We have 2,500 milligrams of creatine, so if you do 2 scoops, you get your 5 grams. Biotin anhydrous, I used to put that in. I would put I think it was like 3 grams. It's 2 grams for 1 scoop, so 4 grams for 2 scoops. Alpha GPC, 400 milligrams per scoop, which is phenomenal. That's what I love to see. 200 milligrams of caffeine per scoop, and then 100 milligrams of huperzine A. So it has all the things that I look for in it, and especially when you double it, you have 2 scoops. This stuff is phenomenal. I can handle high stem. I'm 260 pounds. I'm 6 foot. I do powerlifting. I haven't really talked about that on my videos. I probably will here in the future, but this is phenomenal. Now, does the flavor hold up? Absolutely. The watermelon, a 9.5 out of 10. It is fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. I don't really love cherry, but I tried the energy drink that they have of cherry, and the canned energy drinks are phenomenal. This is still good. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I absolutely am going to use this. It's great. And it's better than any of the original flavors. I would say that they've achieved S tier flavors, which is phenomenal. They haven't, however, changed the flavors of the Nitric, which is the caffeine-free. Thing here is they already tasted slightly better than the caffeinated versions. I don't know why that was, but any of the caffeine-free versions just tasted better. So I don't know if they had like, you know, a version 1 for the caffeinated, version 1.5 for the Nitric. Now they're on version 2 or whatever it is. But the Nitric's almost always tasted better. So I will probably should probably do a flavor testing of this like I did some of my old pre-workout videos. But if I was to say which one I would get, I wouldn't get Tiger's Blood. I didn't like it. It's maybe 7, 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't great. Same with Cherry Blackout. The cherry and the Nitric's not nearly as good as the new flavor profile. I will say though, the strawberry kiwi, bomb. They did a fantastic job. And I wish I didn't throw the can away, but I had the grape cotton candy in the new pre-workout, the 2.0. So good. I'm ordering that again next time. I don't know that I'll order the cherry again. I'm ordering the watermelon for sure and the grape for sure. Fantastic. Like Derek Company, Gorilla Mind, you nailed it. All right, so how do I take this? Because I mentioned I have 2 different versions. I'm a big guy. You don't need to do this. There's a couple of ways that you can do this, and I'm going to go through it. But how I take it, right now I'm prepping for a powerlifting competition, lifting crazy heavy. I've changed my program a little bit. I'm trying to recover better, and so pre-workout is helping with that, and the pumps I've gotten are just absolutely insane. So how I do this, I take 2 scoops of the pre-workout with the Gorilla Mode with the caffeine, and I drink that as I'm in the sauna. So I sit in the sauna usually about 30 minutes before I work out, try to get warm up. I wake up at 5:20 when I work out because my kids need to be off to school. I'm starting to get them ready at 7:20. So I've got 2 hours essentially to get up, get everything going, get my pre-workout, get worked out, and be done. And so I take 2 scoops of this, 400 milligrams of caffeine. Can be a lot for some people. I like it. It feels great. And then after I've done that, I've started my workout. I mix 2 scoops of one of these guys, and I mix an ounce of honey in with that. I need a little bit of carbs. So I'm following the vertical diet, and one of Stan Efferding's, he's the one that created the diet. One of his things that he uses is a hydration drink. And part of that is a certain mix of glucose and fructose and salt. And so I guess my secret to my pre-workouts is I actually put a half a teaspoon of salt in with the pre-workout with caffeine, and then a half a teaspoon of salt in with the non. So I have about a teaspoon of salt as I'm working out. And I also have that ounce of honey with 2 scoops of one of the nitrics. And the pumps that I've gotten from that, I'm a power lifter. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not after the pump, but there have been a couple of workouts where my arms were pumped for like 2 hours afterward. It was absolutely insane. Nothing like I've ever experienced before, because I've never really done bodybuilding type lifting. It's always been heavy. It's been for shot put. It's been for football. It's been for Olympic weightlifting. It's never been for bodybuilding. So I do some accessories here and there, but the pumps have been noticeably larger. So I like that. It's been really, really good. The other thing that you can do, if 400 milligrams of caffeine is too much for you, I actually did get, the reason I got the grape or the cherry here was I got cherry right here as well. And so if I need, like less caffeine for the day, I mix 1 scoop of each. And the flavors of the Gorilla Mode 2.0 are better than the Nitric, but this is still pretty good. And so when you mix them, they're phenomenal. Like that's been something that I've done as well. On days when I need a little bit less caffeine, I've switched down to 3 days working out. Should probably do a video on why that is, but on light days, which I don't have anymore, that was a good combo. So if you just need, maybe you don't want to have to buy an energy drink and you want something to kind of get you through a yard, project, done that before as well. 1 scoop of the caffeinated version, 1 scoop of the not, good to go. Get your pump on while you're doing that yard work. So that's how I take this. I don't use both every single day, but I've found with how large I am, again 260 pounds, I can handle the 4 scoops. So scale that to body weight. This isn't recommendations for you. This is just letting you know how I use it, and I have never felt as strong as I do now. There's a few reasons for that. Obviously pre-workout is not the only reason for that, but it does help. And this formula has been absolutely phenomenal. So in the nitric, there is a difference between this. So don't think you're doubling up on ingredients. So you are doubling up on the L-citrulline. Between the two, you're going to get 20,000 milligrams, so 20 grams, which is a lot. Biotin anhydrous is also glycerol pump, malic acid. The difference really is like sodium nitrate. You have vasodrive, which is a way to, essentially to vasodilate, so increase your pump, but it's not the glycer pump, which this one also has. So there's a couple of different things in here. You are doubling up on quite a few ingredients, but I haven't noticed any negative effects from that. Some people suffer from, the loose stools after you take a pre-workout. I will say after taking 4 scoops, I do go to the bathroom in the morning a few times. It's never the real stomach upset, but usually I'm on top of taking 1 full teaspoon of real salt, which is my favorite salt. I sometimes put in 1,200 milligrams of magnesium, and that's usually when I notice things are a little bit worse. When I don't do that, I still go to the bathroom, but nothing like the stomach upsets you might have had with pre-workout. So in that category, I say these pass. Your results may vary, but that's how I use these. They've been phenomenal. I absolutely love them. Now, the last thing to address, is there any chemicals in here that are toxic, or that I would say I'm trying to avoid? And when we're taking pre-workout, we're taking, synthetic chemicals. This is not an all natural thing. I've tried all natural pre-workouts. Never have they ever worked even remotely well. And usually they taste really, really bad and just way overpriced. So yes, these are synthetic chemicals. They're not natural, but the things that I do look out for is I don't like to see the dyes, like the red 40s or the blue 5, like any of the harsh coloring agents. Because I have ADHD, I can make it so that I'm less focused. Like I notice when I have one with actual coloring in it, I'll take it and I'm like, something was off on that. I'll go check, and sure enough, either there's stevia, which I don't know why my body doesn't like, but my body really doesn't like stevia, or there's some sort of dye in there. Again, my body doesn't like that. So in these, they're actually naturally colored, which I really, really appreciate. That's not something that most companies even care to look at, but those are chemicals that I really don't want in my body. They have natural and artificial flavors. That's not something you get around. I will take the unnatural and artificial flavors and artificial sweetener of these because of how good they taste and how well they work over some of the other ones. So if there's anything in here that doesn't work well with your body, try it out, you'll figure it out. But I haven't seen anything as far as things that I normally avoid in these, which has been a really, really big surprise. I did want to make one little note here. I get the question occasionally, it's either what pre-workout do you use, or should I use a pre-workout? Should you use a pre-workout? You can. You don't have to. If you don't have the extra money for a pre-workout, don't take away from good quality food, red meat, rice, whatever. I follow the vertical diet, so high quality foods are more important than supplements, 100%. If you're not taking base minerals or fish oil, I don't like multivitamins. You don't have to take all these other things, but your basic macro minerals, as well as a fish oil, maybe some melatonin night, just depending on what you need. I would spend money there first, but pre-workout, I just love it. I love the flavors. I love the boost. I love the mental focus. There are a couple of other things that maybe I'd spend my money first, but do you need one? No. Is it great? Does it taste good? Is it a nice ritual to kind of get you ready for that workout? 100%. Been doing it for the last 20 years. Don't think I'll ever stop. Maybe I'll switch over to non-stim only. I've done that a couple of times. Didn't love the results, but I don't think I'll ever stop taking it. So if you want my answer, take it if you want it, but you don't need it. I have never in my life had a pre-workout that I was like, this is a 10 out of 10. I will order this over building my own. I hated building my own because it took forever to scoop out all the, I would literally scoop out each individual ingredient, because if you mixed it all together, it would gum up and it was just a mess. Gorilla Mind, they've done it. I don't have an affiliate code. Maybe I will by the time this is out. Right now, I don't have any relationship with them. I don't make any money off of this video. I just want you to know, after 20 years of trying pre-workouts, this is hands down the best one I've ever had. I will continue to use this. I probably won't try it anymore, to be honest. I'm not that type of person. I continually am trying new things. You'd seen the amount of gym equipment and camera equipment and microphones. At one point I had 22 microphones. I just don't settle for things. The search is over, and I'm not being facetious that literally this is the best pre-workout I've ever had. So 2024, 2025, whatever year you're watching this, if you want the best pre-workout you've ever had in both effect and flavor, I honestly cannot recommend any other company, any other product other than this more highly. So if you need a pre-workout, this is it. Glad you liked this video. If you want to see another fantastic video, click the video right here. I'll see you over there.